guys, welcome to episode 14 of the Knit by Day podcast. If you're new here, my name is Deja. You can find me on Instagram at Knit by Day or on Ravelry at Days Jam. And if you're a returning viewer, you're probably noticing a slight change in our setup. So that is a sign that my sister made for my birthday, which was about 2 weeks ago now. It's gorgeous and I love it so much. It actually lights up, though you won't be able to tell in this video. And I would pull it closer so that you can get a better look at it. However, if I do that, I will spend the rest of the episode obsessing over whether or not it is straight. So I am just going to leave it on the board for now. And I think I'm gonna switch up the intro to include the signs. So hopefully by now you've already gotten a better look at it. Also, if you're a returning viewer, you will note that we skipped the last episode of the podcast. As I mentioned, my birthday was about 2 weeks ago, and at the time I would have been recording the podcast, we were coming back from a mountain trip in Asheville to celebrate my birthday, and I thought I could make it happen. I thought I could make it happen, and I just could not. Another thing to note is that Simone here is in heat, which for those of you who have never had female cats, happens and it makes them super duper needy. We have her appointment to get fixed scheduled with the vet. However, it's just happened to not line up with the time that she started going into heat. So we're gonna deal with that. Pardon any interruptions that she may cause this episode. I'm gonna try to cut them out to the best of my ability, but we'll see. All right, the other quick announcement is just a reminder that we do have the Made with Intention make along happening over on my Ravelry. I can put a link in the description box below so that it is really easy for you to go over there and join on Ravelry. If you choose to join via Instagram, then you can use the hashtag MadeWithIntention2021 and you will be entered into the giveaways that I'll be doing throughout the year. And that's all for my announcements. So we can go ahead and pop on over to the FO section of the podcast, and here's our first one. There she is. These are the socks that I mentioned I was knitting for my best friends. I did knit myself a pair that had the white contrast instead of the mustard, and actually I think they're sitting. Yep, here they are. So for comparison's sake, these are mine, these are hers. Both are knit out of Rocky Mountain yarn in the Bubbles at Midnight sock sets. If you are a returning viewer, you will have heard that about a million times. Her birthday was this past weekend, so I am going to pop these in the mail, but I wanted to ensure that I could show them off on the podcast before I did that. So she'll be getting them this week. She's aware they'll be late, so it is what it is. Well, she should be aware they're late because her birthday was Saturday and we are now on Tuesday, so it's pretty clear they're gonna be late, but I digress. And just like that, we are out of finished objects and moving on to whips. The rest of what I have been working on are a couple more long-term projects, working on a sweater, my habitation blanket, etc. So we'll get into showing off the works in progress. First up on the list is my habitation throw in all its glory. I mentioned on the last episode of the podcast that I had been wanting to work on this and just kept getting distracted by all the new shiny objects. However, you'll notice that I did put a little bit of a dent in this. So if you'll look, the last time I showed this on the podcast, I was here and then I had some purple sections right after the pink. However, I decided I didn't like, first, how small the blanket was gonna be if I were to continue in the decrease section from there. Second, I didn't really love the color palette that was coming out. So what I did was I ripped on back to where my decrease section had started, which was actually originally way back here. I knit a couple of additional colors, and then I started decreasing and changing the palette at this pink right here. So you can see that's my corner. That's where I started decreasing, and it's gonna be at least 3 or 4 colors bigger than it was to begin with, which is awesome. I think it was just short of throw size before I had ripped back, and now it's definitely past my wingspan. So a little bit of an oversized throw, which is what my goal was to begin with. So actually, let's see if we can stretch it out for you. Ugh. Yeah, see, like my arms are fully stretched and it's not even hitting it. So yeah, that's my that's my Habitation throw by Helen Stewart. It is made out of a Homespun House mini skeins that I get from being a monthly Patreon with Molly. My next magic cake is already all wound up, ready to be put into here. I think that this cake here might actually be the end of the Habitation throw, which is really, really cool, actually. I don't even remember the last time I knit a blanket, and I know for a fact I've never knit a fingering weight blanket, so it is quite a feat. However, once I finish this cake and finish the Habitation throw, I have no idea what I'm going to do with my monthly minis. I might just start another one, who knows? I've had so much fun with that one that I think I could knit another one easily. We'll see. While we're on the topic of Molly's minis, this was the next month to come in, which is super bright and fun. It's so perfect for spring. And as much as I would love for these to be in that blanket, I think that, like I said, that cake's gonna finish it off. And I think they're a little bit too bright to put at the end, just because we have a lot of more muted tones going on towards the end. But I'm thinking these would make some gorgeous sock contrast, or even like a little pop in a shawl here or there. So I'm gonna have to figure out where these are going. The next thing I have on my needles, you can probably predict. On the last episode, or even maybe the episode before, I had shown you that I had gotten a pink Fizz kit from Quincy & Co. And I alluded to the fact that I was going to cast it on very soon. I have done that. So there's not a lot of high contrast in this yarn. It is pretty much the same color, but I'm pleased to see that with the lighting, it is kind of showing up on camera. You can see a little bit of the work that I've done. Yeah. So those of you who are not familiar with the pink Fizz, which I don't know that there's anyone out there that isn't, but if you aren't, it's knit out of fingering weight yarn, and the color work that you see here is actually done with, so the typical fingering weight, and then you do the color work with strand of mohair. So you can see the difference. The dark one is actually the mohair in this sweater. And I will do that color work yoke pretty much, I think I'm about 10 rows away from being complete with the color work, and then from there I will split for the sleeves and it'll just be stockinette in the round. As I mentioned, this is Quincy & Co. Here's the regular fingering weight, and then there's the mohair, which is so luscious, so soft. I love it. I was really excited to try their yarn because this is the first time I've ever ordered from them, and I do really enjoy it. If you aren't familiar with Quincy & Co., they're a pretty popular company, and their colorways are just phenomenal. They're gorgeous. So I had been following them on Instagram for a while, just because all their bright neons and gorgeous gorgeous colorways had already caught my eye. And I'm honestly surprised that my first order from them was not something super colorful, but I'm trying to reel myself in and knit things that I'm actually going to wear, hence the Made with Intention Mal. So that will be my entry into the make along. All right, so one of the things I got to do while I was on my birthday trip in Asheville is stop by the lovely and popular Black Mountain yarn shop. And I spent probably about an hour and a half going back and forth between all the different options. I'm pretty sure Christian at that point was completely fed up with me because I'd pick up something and I'd be like, all right, this is it, we're good, this is what I'm leaving with. And then I would stop for 1 second and you could almost like see the hesitation in my eyes and I'd be like, no. I'd put it back and I'd go pick up something else. And then finally it got to the point where I kept going back and forth between 2 different projects and I finally just like pulled the trigger and got the heck out of there because it was going to be another hour if I didn't just buy something. So this is what I came out with. This is Magpie's Swanky Sock. The colorway is Ghost Town, and it is, if I'm correct, I think it is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, which makes it just luscious, and then 10% nylon. And then also I came away with Bien Amiee. This is their sand sock colorway, and it is 100% superwash merino. It's a gorgeous like hunter green with neutrals that compare to this here. And currently I am knitting up, if we can untangle it. There it is. Currently I am knitting up a shawl that I am completely taking to my own. This is something that I am just making up on the fly. And you can see it's got a lot of garter stitch, a little bit of fading, and brioche. I knew I wanted to knit something brioche, but I went on Ravelry to try to find a shawl that lined up with exactly what I was envisioning, and I couldn't find anything. So what do you do when that happens? You just make it up. That's what I'm doing. It'll be asymmetrical in the end. And I'm fairly certain this is one I'm going to publish. Just, you know, don't hold out hope that it's going to be soon, because who knows with the way I knit. Tend to jump all over the place. It's just who I am. So yeah, I've really been enjoying knitting that, and yeah, that's all the projects I have. I do have one more thing to share with you, a little bit of a birthday acquisition, unexpected as it was. My friend Brooke sent me these 2 half skeins in the mail for my birthday, and I was so blown away by it. That week was a rough week for me, and so to get unexpected yarn squish in the mail was just such a treat for me. This is by a dyer I have never heard of, but I love this yarn, so I'll be checking her out some more. It is called Mandy's Makings, hand-dyed yarn. She does have her website there, which is mandysmakings.com. These 2 are called Crash the Party and Sweet Pea, which I don't know which one's which. But it is 100% superwash merino, sport weight yarn. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with the 2 of these. I think they could make a really, really lovely brioche hat, or I don't know. I'm torn. Could definitely put them in another project, but I almost want them to be a project of their own. So if you have any ideas for sport weight yarn or even fingering weight yarn that only takes 1 skein, because these are 2 half skeins, 1 skein together, then let me know. Let me know what you're thinking, because I have been wanting to cast those yarns on. However, I just, you know, sometimes you get paralyzed by project choices, especially when the yarn's really special. So I'm hoping to go ahead and cast that on soon so that I don't just sit there paralyzed by it. And that's it. That's all the fiber goodness. I am going to talk a little bit about my life and update you guys on what has been going on since the last episode. If you were only here for the fiber, I don't blame you. Again, it's why I do most things. It's all about the fiber. So I will talk to you next episode. And if you are hanging out, welcome to my life. And let's chat about it. So, obviously, one of the first things to talk about is the birthday weekend. It was phenomenal. Like I said, I had the chance to pick out some yarn. We went for some hikes. We saw some friends. We ate some lunch and cooked some good food in a giant kitchen, which is frankly a luxury that I definitely took for granted when I was living in my mom's house. Ever since Christian and I moved out on our own, our priority has really not been the kitchen when looking for apartments. It's definitely been the pricing. And so for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5, however long we've been together, I think we've been together like 6 years, 7 years. I haven't had a big kitchen. And so I really haven't been able to, I don't want to say I haven't been able to cook. We make do, but it's a less enjoyable experience. So believe it or not, a birthday weekend with a big kitchen is a big deal for me. So that was exciting. We had a lot of fun. We came back and then we went and had dinner with my mom and all of my siblings. I've mentioned in previous podcasts that we have a blended family, and so the special occasions where we're able to get everybody together is really, really special and super fun. So yeah, I had that weekend where we traveled. We came back and had a chill weekend the following weekend. Chill for the most part, I think. And then this past weekend, we did a bit of an impulse trip to Atlanta where we spent just one day in Atlanta, which is tough for us because it's about a 12-hour round trip. But it was my best friend's birthday, as I mentioned, so I wanted to surprise her. And she was also getting engaged that weekend. We knew that her boyfriend, also one of my closest friends, was proposing that weekend. And so we wanted to make it a really, really big deal. He proposed Saturday night. We came in Sunday and surprised them at the aquarium, which was super, super fun. Yeah, and then we did dinner and pretty much had to get back on the road the next day. So thankfully, with my 3-day weekends, I was able to have today to kind of decompress and film an episode finally. And yeah, I think I'm gonna spend the rest of the day cleaning the house and preparing for my Monday and the rest of the world's Wednesday, which should be nice if I can find the motivation to do it. I'm sure you guys know how that is. And then the only other thing that's really been on my mind and on my plate for the last couple of weeks has been wedding planning. So we are now less than 4 weeks away from the wedding. I feel like I have a world of things to do somehow, even though it's been 2 years in the making, but a lot of little things need to come together in the next couple of weeks. So I am making a list, checking it twice. This week we get to meet with our wedding planner, which she's just like, wedding planners are saints. I encourage any of you that are getting married to, it's a lot of money, but it is worth the money. It's probably the one piece of the wedding that is worth the money. So I would encourage all of you that are planning to get married in the future to bite the bullet and get the planner, even if that means skipping in other areas, because she's so worth it. Takes a lot of stress off my plate. Yeah, that's it. I got my dress altered this past week. If you haven't done that, it's a miserable experience to stand still for an hour and a half while a woman pins all the different fabrics down for you. But I'm sure it's going to be gorgeous and I'm very excited to see it. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I'm spending the rest of the day finding the motivation to clean. I hope you guys have a wonderful 2 weeks. Hopefully that lines up okay and I'm able to podcast at that point. If not, I will create a short little maybe vlog or something and let you in on the behind the scenes of planning a wedding. Yeah, have a great couple of weeks. I will see you then.